Hi, welcome to Inspire Yoga. I'm Jacqueline and I'll be guiding you through mindful movements today. This will be a great practice if you've been working in the garden or sitting at a computer quite often. We'll bring in some unique movements to get the body away from habit and get it moving in different ways. So go ahead and grab your mat, a pillow, a blanket, a cushion, props, whatever you need to support your body today, and I'll see you on your mat. We'll begin from seated today. Go ahead and make yourself comfortable. If you need to sit up on a block or a blanket or a cushion, maybe switch the legs to get out of habit. Look down and then bring the opposite foot in front. It might feel a little bit more awkward, but just again, getting the body out of its habits and moving in a different way. Take a moment to just settle in. You can shift around, maybe rock side to side with the torso. Feel the crown of the head start to lift. Find where it's most comfortable for the hands to rest, maybe on the knees, on the thighs. You could even stack one hand on top of the other in your lap. Palms can turn up. Settle in and begin to find stillness. Soften or close the eyes. And we'll begin with a few nice deep cleansing breaths here. When you're ready, inhale fully through the nose. And exhale out the mouth, let it go. A couple more times at your own pace. Fill up completely. And let it go. Don't be afraid to make sound. Releasing. Now tuning into our yogic breath, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Reminding the facial muscles to soften, shoulders drop down. With every inhale, creating length through the spine, top of the head reaching up. Taking this time to connect to your breath. Allowing your attention, your full attention to come to your breathing, maybe even telling yourself, I am inhaling, I am exhaling. Notice how your body is affected by your breathing. Belly fills up, rib cage, chest, torso expands as you breathe in fully. And everything settles, contracts in as you breathe out. See if you can count just 3 more cycles of breath exactly as you are. Staying with this nice smooth breath. Just gently begin to tilt the head over to the right, dropping that right ear down towards the right shoulder. And then if you'd like to reach that left arm out to the side, maybe the fingertips come down to the mat or the floor, or maybe you reach and hover that hand over the floor. You could reach those fingertips up towards the ceiling. Just to deepen that stretch a bit. And down, keeping the head tilted over to the right. Take that right hand and reach it behind your lower back. See if you can bring that right hand over to your left side, towards your left hip. Then bend into that left arm. See if you can clasp the hands together and press that left elbow back, deepening that stretch into the left shoulder and down the side of the neck. With your next inhale, releasing that bind through the hands and slowly guiding the head back to center. Take a moment to tuck the chin in towards the chest. Shoulders stay back and down. Breathing fully. And now begin to tilt the head over to the left side, dropping that left ear down towards the left shoulder. And then maybe that right hand floats out to the side. Fingertips can rest down on the floor of the mat, or that hand can be hovering. Maybe you flick the wrist to point those fingertips up towards the ceiling, allowing for a stretch from the wrist, up the forearm, through the entire arm, up to the shoulder. And then taking that left hand, reaching it behind the body, seeing if you can bring that left hand over to your right side, bending into that right elbow to interlace the fingers if you can, clasp the hands together, and press that right elbow back, deepening the stretch, keeping the head tilted over to the left. Keeping that opening across the chest, pressing the shoulder blades back and towards each other, shoulders down. And of course, breathing fully here. With your next inhale, begin to release the bind and bring the head back to center. Try to interlace your fingers behind the lower back. Press the palms of the hands together, shoulder blades back and towards each other, and you can keep your gaze neutral. Chin can stay parallel to the floor, or if it feels okay, you can tilt your head up and back, reaching those knuckles out and back behind you. One more breath here. And when you release, we'll do the opposite. Reach those arms forward, interlace the fingers. This time, press the palms of the hands forward, tuck the chin in towards the chest. Feel that rounding through your back. Breathe into the space between the shoulder blades. You might even roll back almost off of those sits bones, creating a C shape with your spine. And with your next inhale, arriving back to center, releasing. Good. You can switch the legs to even things out, or sit another way if you're feeling uncomfortable here. A little bit more movement into the wrists and shoulders. We'll bring the base of the hands, so the lower part of the palms of the hands together. Press your pinky fingers and thumbs together. Creating a sort of flower shape with the hands. And then the hands will start to roll on each other. So you'll unstick the thumbs and keep the pinky finger edges of the hands together as you turn your palms towards you, and then start to allow the backs of the hands to roll on each other and touch until the thumbs come to touch again and roll under and up. So it doesn't have to look perfect. It's not about how it looks, it's about how it feels. So continue to roll, bringing the elbows out wide, rolling towards you, fingertips come towards you, then away. Just bringing some different movements into the wrists, rolling things out, and then notice in which direction you're moving. Slow things down and then start to move the other way. Good. Focus on your breath. This is taking a lot of concentration. It's good. Bring your focus to your body, also to your breathing. We'll arrive back to center. Bring the elbows to touch, the forearms to touch, have the palms facing towards you. You can spread the fingers wide here. Elbows about in line with your chest, with the shoulders. And then just a subtle movement here. We'll start to peel the hands, the forearms away from each other, keeping the elbows stuck together, and then back to center. So just a few more times, opening up and coming back together. Notice if those elbows want to lower down, try to keep them lifted. Good, releasing here. Just some nice circles with the shoulders, inhaling up, shrugging the shoulders up towards the ears, and exhaling back and down. And I'll invite you to make your way onto your hands and knees. Come to tabletop pose. Swinging the legs around, removing that cushion or block if you had one. Setting up with the hands directly below the shoulders. Spread the fingers wide. Have your index fingers pointing forward to the top of your mat. Place your knees directly below your hips or just slightly behind, and press the tops of the feet down into the mat. Start by feeling the top of the head reaching forward. Your gaze is down to your mat, keeping a nice long spine. Flat back to begin. Notice your breath. Move with your breath. When an inhale comes, lower your belly, tilt your tailbone up, press your chest forward, look forward or up. Breathe in fully. When you feel that exhale, begin to round through your back. And tuck your chin in towards your chest. Crown of the head reaches down towards the floor. And begin again. Inhale, lower the belly, tilt the tailbone up, pressing your mat away from you with your hands. Full in breath, then exhale to begin to round. Notice where this movement begins. Maybe allow it to begin at the tailbone and end with the crown of the head. Same thing on the exhale, starting to round the back and then allowing the chin to tuck, emptying out completely. Press that chest forward, maybe you look up, maybe you're moving with your eyes closed. One more full breath with this movement. And arriving back to center. You might shift your left knee slightly towards the center of your mat and extend your right leg back behind you, flexing that right foot so that the toes point down to your mat. And then go ahead and lower those right toes down to the mat or slightly behind, depending on where you are on your mat, and start to flex that right foot, allowing the right heel to press back to stretch down the back of that right leg. You could keep your hands exactly where they are. You might inch them forward slightly, pressing forward through the hands and back through that right heel. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Let's inhale here. On the exhale, bend into that right knee, shift forward, bring that right knee towards your right elbow. Then extend all the way back. Keep that right leg lifted. Inhale here, then exhale forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Extending that right leg back. Then cross that right leg over the left. Bring the right toes over to the left side of the mat and look over your left shoulder. Pressing that right heel towards the left, creating a twist in your body. And releasing back to center. Bring the knees in a little bit closer to each other. Rock the hips side to side. And then bring the knees a bit wider, maybe even as wide as your mat. Big toes point towards each other or can touch. Sink the hips back towards the heels. Rest for a moment in child's pose. Allow the forehead to come down to the mat. If the forehead doesn't reach the mat, place a block or stack your hands. Allow rest to come. Notice your breath into the sides of your body if you're reaching forward. Feel the expansion through the rib cage. Also feeling this on your back body. Notice a sense of lifting, expanding as you breathe in. And that slight contraction, everything coming in, settling as you breathe out. Reaching forward, gripping the mat to lift back up to center to tabletop pose. Realign the knees below the hips. You can keep those hands slightly forward. We'll extend that left leg back. This time flex the foot. And then lower those left toes down to the mat or the floor behind you. Pressing that left heel back. Pressing the hands forward, feeling that stretch down the back of the left leg. Breathe into the sensation. And from here, take a nice deep inhale. And exhale to bring that left knee forward to that left elbow. Inhale back, keeping that left leg lifted. Exhale forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. This time, inhaling back and then crossing that left leg over the right, bringing that left heel to reach over to the right and looking over your right shoulder. Keep pressing into the mat with your hands. And releasing back to center. Bring knees just a little bit wider. Shift the hips back, almost as if you're coming into child's pose. Then inhale all the way forward, sinking the hips, opening across the chest. Maybe you look up, and exhale, round through the back. Tuck the chin in. Couple more times. Inhale forward, sink the hips, open across the chest, shoulders stay down. Breathe in fully, then exhale back. One more time, reaching forward through those hands. Inhale, breathe in fully, fill up. And exhale, round. Place the hands to just beside the knees, bringing the knees in closer together, pointing the knees forward. And you might keep your hands down on the mat. You might have your bum slightly lifted if it feels like too much pressure on the feet, on the ankles. You want to keep the tops of your feet down on the mat. And if you're feeling okay here, you might allow yourself to sit back on your heels. You might bring your hands to the tops of your thighs. Shoulders soften, chin parallel to the floor. And if you'd like to take this even further, stretching through the tops of the feet into the ankles and shins, you might reach your hands back behind you and start to lift the knees, lifting the shins off of the mat, just until you feel that moderate stretch, not forcing anything. And we'll come right back down if you were lifted. Bringing your hands back forward in front of the knees. You'll lift your bum and tuck your toes under this time. And same thing, the hands might stay forward. You might keep your bum lifted, or you might see how it feels to sit back on the heels. Maybe you lift your hands to the tops of the thighs. Feeling that stretch through all the toes, through the bottoms of the feet, strengthening for the ankles. Good. Now bring the hands back down to the mat. You'll keep the toes tucked. Bring the feet about hip width distance apart. We'll lift through the knees. We'll come to standing, but keep a nice bend in the knees. Bring the feet flat on the mat. Bend, bend, bend into the knees until the belly rests on the thighs. Take a hold of opposite elbows here. Allow the head to hang heavy. Torso hangs heavy. You could gently sway side to side. Back to center, find a bit of stillness if you are swaying. Bring your fingertips down to the mat. We'll work on straightening the legs and flattening the back here. So when you're ready, bring your hands either to your knees or to your shins and start to straighten the legs and reach the crown of the head forward to flatten the back. We'll take a few breaths here. And then either stay as you are or fold back into that nice forward fold with the knees bent, or you might take this further and reach the arms out into T. Feel the shoulder blades press back and towards each other, palms face down to the earth. And on an exhale, release back down, bend into the knees, belly rests on the thighs, grab opposite elbows here. Gently sway if that feels good. Back to center, finding a bit of stillness, fingertips down to the mat, bend into the knees enough to be able to walk the hands forward. And come all the way out into a plank pose. You can keep the knees lifted or lower them down to the mat right away. If you have the knees lifted, working on a little bit of strengthening here, pressing the heels back. If the knees are down, same thing, keeping the shoulders above the wrists. Strong. Draw the navel in towards the back. And with an exhale, lower down. Bring the elbows in towards the body as you slowly lower the chest all the way down to the mat. Reach your right arm forward and then bend into your left knee to bring your left knee up towards, in line with your right hip. You're slightly rolling onto your right side. So you're resting your right ear on your right bicep. Sort of a half frog with that left knee, bringing it out to the side, out wide. You can turn that left foot out to the side. And then maybe you bend into that right knee, lifting that right foot. And you could reach that left hand back, take a hold of that right foot with your left hand, and deepen the stretch through the top of the right thigh into that quad. Adjusting the pressure. Rolling that left shoulder back and open if you have the bind. And releasing here. If you have that bind, go ahead and lower that right leg. Extend the right leg once again. Bring that left hand down to the mat. Extend that left leg back to meet the right as you roll onto your belly. Then we'll switch sides with the arm. So bring that right hand directly below your right shoulder. Reach that left arm forward. Begin to gently, just slightly roll onto your left side. And then invite that right knee up and out to the side. Adjust here to find what's comfortable in your body. Relaxing the legs, softening the feet. And relaxing the head, allow the left side of the head to rest on that left bicep. And then maybe you bend into that left knee to lift the left foot. You could take a hold of the left foot with the right hand. Find a bind if it's available. Rolling that right shoulder back, opening across your chest. And adjusting the pressure to feel that nice stretch through the top of the left thigh. And releasing here, extending that left leg long. Bringing that right hand back down to the mat, extending the right leg back to meet the left. Rolling back onto the belly, bring the hands directly below the shoulders. Allow the tops of the feet to press into the mat. And just super gently with an inhale, keep a deep bend in the arms, barely any pressure through the palms of the hands into the mat. Slowly lift the chest. With an exhale, lower back down. We'll do that 2 more times. Keep the shoulders down and away from the ears. Inhale to just gently lift. Exhale down. 1 more time. And lowering. Tuck your toes under. Lift up onto hands and knees. And then place your knees out a bit wider. Tops of the feet rest on the mat. Big toes point towards each other or touch. And sink the hips back towards the heels. Find a hovering position in child's pose. Allow the head to hover over the mat. And then walk your hands over to the right side. Feel a stretch down the left side of your body. You might stay as you are with the palms of the hands down on the floor. You might come up onto your left fingertips. You might reach that right arm, right hand back towards the back corner of your mat, relaxing that right shoulder completely. Breathing into the left side of your body. Releasing on this side, walk the hands back to center. Take a moment to reach forward, bring your gaze forward, grip the mat with your fingertips. Then shift over to the second side, walking the hands over to the left. Maybe you come up onto the fingertips, the right fingertips. Sort of tenting the hand. Maybe you reach that left arm all the way back along the left side of your body. Sending the breath down the right side. And then releasing back to center. Inhaling to come up to tabletop for just a moment. I'll invite you to walk your knees over to one side of your mat. Lower your hips down to the other. Gently swing your legs forward. And then make yourself comfortable to come to recline. So shift forward to allow the head to rest on the mat. And maybe guide yourself down, walking the hands back or coming onto the forearms. Eventually allowing your body to rest, but keeping the soles of the feet on the mat with the knees up for now. Feeling the shoulders come down and away from the ears. Maybe you give them a little wiggle. Try to feel all parts of the spine, of the back pressing down into the mat. And find your breath here. attention to the space just below your belly button. Engage your core muscles. And without using your hands to hug your knees in towards your chest. So maybe one leg at a time. Keeping the palms of the hands, the backs of the arms pressing down into the mat. Just gently swaying side to side. Shins are parallel to the mat. Feet are flexed. Maybe you start to make circles with the knees in one direction and then the other, massaging the lower back into the mat. And we'll just get into the hips a little bit before we come to rest. Bring the knees out wide and then reach for either your pinky toes or your ankles, the bottoms of your pant legs, the outsides of the feet, whatever you can take a hold of for happy baby pose. Flexing the feet so that the soles of the feet reach up towards the ceiling. Knees pressing down towards the mat, towards your underarms. Flexing the feet, finding that pressure, that resistance between the feet reaching up towards the ceiling and pressing down towards the mat. You might be still here, you might gently rock side to side. You should feel a little massage into the hips. Nice release for the lower back. And of course that beautiful breath coming in. Inhale deeply. Breathe all the way down to the bottom of the belly. Filling you up, 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 all the way. And super slowly releasing. Take one more nice deep inhale in this pose. Breathe in. And exhale, release the bind, release the breath. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Curl up into a nice tight ball. Squeeze everything in. Maybe allow the forehead to come up towards the knees. And exhale, soften, release completely. Take a moment to shift and settle into your final resting pose. This might mean extending the legs and bringing the feet to the corners of the mat. Shifting the shoulders down and away from the ears. Your choice. Hands can rest on the belly, on the hips, or to the sides of the body on the mat. Maybe the palms turn up. Soften your facial muscles, close your eyes. And visualize beautiful, bright, white light shining, beginning at the top of your head, coming over your face, down onto your shoulders, across your chest, all the way down the arms to your fingertips. Over your belly, over the hips, the pelvis, down the thighs to the knees, all the way down the lower part of the legs, over the feet to the tips of your toes. Feeling its warmth, its beauty. Feeling light in your body. Shift from doing to simply being. Return to your natural rhythm of breath. Take rest. always do as your body is asking you. You might stay and rest longer. When you're ready, and when you do begin to move, do so super slowly, as if you're in no hurry at all. And as you return to your daily activities, or maybe preparing for sleep, try to keep this feeling, this sensation, hopefully of peace, with you. Returning to your breath as often as possible. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide. The divine in me humbly honors the divine in you. Namaste.